Next up at UFC Vegas 28, we have Joe Solecki versus Jared Gordon. Joe Solecki, 11-2 in his career, 5-0 in his last 5. Jared Gordon, 17-4 overall, 3-2 in his last 5. Joe Solecki's a very good grappler coming off of a solid win over Jim Miller. When I did that breakdown way back then, I said Joe Solecki is like Jim Miller 2.0, and that's exactly what he is. And that's still the case. He's very slick on the ground, really makes things happen with his pressure and transitions, but he has solid hands. That's the 2.0. He has solid striking. Very solid striking. It's boxing, but he has solid striking. His boxing is clean and crisp, and it's not just there to set up takedowns. He will hang out. He will box with you. He doesn't need to just go, let me take a shot real quick. Great on the ground. Good, clean boxing. Joe Solecki is a problem for a lot of people, including Jared Gordon. Jared Gordon, he's coming up in weight for this fight. Gordon is also a good wrestler, solid pressure of his own, decent striking of his own. Even though he's a wrestler, I don't know if he's going to want to get it to the ground because there is a big gap between them as far as the pure jiu-jitsu is concerned. A lot of things are working against Gordon in this fight. He'll be smaller because he's coming up in weight. He might be intimidated to rely on his wrestling, which is his background, because, he'll end up on the ground with Joe Solecki, who's really solid on the ground. But if you dig into the stats, you'll see that Gordon lands twice as many strikes per minute as Solecki. He gets more takedowns per fight, but unfortunately, he also gets hit almost 3 times as much as his opponents do. He definitely has fought the high level of competition. So it's a tough pick. And I've been saying that a lot on this card. There's some decent matchups. The favorites are way too big of a favorite. And the close ones like this should honestly be close. Conventional wisdom will say Joe Solecki, dangerous on his feet, dangerous on the ground, riding quite the win streak. And he has a win over Jim Miller, but 40-year-old Jim Miller is not Jim Miller 5 years ago. Or if you look at Jared Gordon's record, good, solid wins and solid losses. He beat Danny Chavez. He lost to Charles Oliveira. So he's fought a higher level of competition. He's always, even when he gets stopped, he's always putting on a show. Joe Solecki's the pick because I think Jared may be intimidated with the takedowns, but I would not be shocked if Jared's like, I don't care, comes out there, throws some bombs, gets some takedowns, and just sort of keeps Solecki where he is and doesn't let Solecki get off. Solecki's the pick, but it's not, it's not the most confident pick I've ever had. But I will say $8,300 for somebody who has the upside for a KO and a submission is a solid price to pay. So I will probably have Joe Solecki in my lineup. I will do it with a shaky finger because I'm not, anytime you get these young guys on a streak that get a little bit of a step up, and I know Jim Miller was a step up, but Jim Miller, they have styles make fights. Him and Jim Miller had the exact same style. He was just better at it. Jared Gordon is a little bit of a different style, has better offensive wrestling. No problem trading if he wants to trade. And he's been in some fights and he's not used up. The dude's only 33 years old. He's not 50. So tough pick. Joe Solecki's the pick. My finger will shake when I grab it. Monkey knife fight, less. Because I think Jared Gordon, if he lands 95 shots, that's going to be a big, long, rough night for Joe Solecki. And Joe Solecki, if he gets to 84, that means that it's mostly on the ground. He does have that clean boxing, but if he's getting past 50 strikes, Jared Gordon's going to shoot some takedowns. He'll get them. He's an effective wrestler. He'll get the takedowns, and then Joe Solecki will be a problem on the ground. It'll lower his strike count. So I like the less with monkey knife fight. Bet-wise, I will probably do an inside the distance decision, no action bet on Joe Solecki. If Joe Solecki loses, he will lose a decision. If he wins, he'll probably get a submission, and that will hedge me against a potential upset here from Jared Gordon. So I'll probably take a look at that. The odds aren't going to be fantastic, but I will take a look at that. If you want to grab any of those, wewantpicks.com/MKF for monkey knife fight /bets for bets.